Part 60. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 591. Shura's exclusive space. A flash of white light flashed, and Yabai returned to his loyal and exclusive space. Master is back. Yabai, who returned from the victory, was very satisfied with the fact that he was still alive. Yabai's life principles. Sleep in the big sleep, break the big defense, make a big mess, commit a big death, squat in a big jail, open a big banquet, and lie in a big tomb. Living is a beautiful thing. Yabai, who was in a good mood, shouted. Fool, quickly bring the gold coins to your grandpa Shiu. You guy, did you take the wrong medicine again? Master Fool glanced at Shura, frowned and asked. Were you hacked by Wuhan again today? Nonsense. Second brother is such a good person, how could he chop me down? Yabai rolled his eyes and refuted. Don't sow discord, don't fall for your tricks. Snort. Master Fool snorted coldly and said disdainfully. You don't bring it upon yourself. Based on her understanding of Shura, Shura was probably feeling guilty after saying so many words in one breath. The fool raised his eyebrows, thought of something interesting, and said with a bad smile. Tell me, Aunt, why did you offend Wuhan? Look at what you said. Yabai narrowed his eyes slightly and asked tentatively. Say it, can you change it for money? Able. The fool master affirmed, exchange for eternal gold coins. Yabai. Lose money and defense. When it comes to eternal gold coins, Yabai feels unlucky. I'm in a good mood today. Master Fool pointed at the Jinshan mountain behind. It's only 3 billion gold coins, no big deal. Yabai fell into silence again. That, diligence and frugality, are the traditional virtues of the human race. I am a demon. Master Fool's words stopped Yabai's subsequent nonsense. Are you angry or not? I am a demon. It's reasonable to not do human affairs, right? On the contrary, you, the most powerful seed of the human race, talk about people but do nothing about people every day, making people very suspicious of your true identity. However, after the tragic experience last time, Yabai now looked away. Although 3 billion gold coins are gone. But he still has 3 billion copper coins. Before entering Jinshan, Yabai comforted himself like this. As he watched the golden mountain turn into a copper mountain, Yabai knew that he was wrong. No. This is still a pain that his life cannot bear. 3 billion. 3 billion. 3 billion. When all the gold coins were converted, Yabai left the sad place of his own exclusive space without looking back. After Shuro leaves the exclusive space, the fool master returned to the forge and dug out a little man from the ashes. Looking at the silly master chess piece, the silly master's face was full of gloom, and his expression was so serious that he could squeeze out water. After a while, she squeezed out a few words through her teeth. Well done, Shura. Eternal Core City. Yabai's figure appeared at the end of the street. The sad ones come to the wolf's den. The wolf's lair is Shura's happy house. There are not only free drinks and food here, but also various wild sheep that are randomly refreshed. After ordering 2 bottles of good wine, Yabai sat in the corner, waiting for a destined person. The wolf lair was noisy, and everyone was discussing many and complex topics. Some people are discussing Shura's breakthrough, and some are envious of the brother who was sprayed to death by Xuemeng before. Suddenly, a child who looked like a newspaper seller, wearing the work uniform of Wanwu Pavilion, broke into the wolf den and started shouting. Excuse me. Great changes have taken place in the first abyss. Top secret news. The most powerful Wuhan wields a sword in the first abyss. Free news. Don't miss it if you pass by. Yabai. Second brother drew his sword again? Why didn't I receive the message? On the contrary, gossip is flying all over the wolf's lair. Since the information was free, Ye Bai picked up a report and started researching it. There are pictures and the truth. In the picture, the entire first abyss has turned into a sea of gold, with gold everywhere. Wow! The first moment Ye Bai saw the picture, he couldn't move his eyes away. If he didn't have a lot of money, Ye Bai would definitely go to the first abyss to have fun. The first abyss, in terms of property rights, should belong to Ye Bai. The great demon god was almost beaten to death by King Huo Tian, and Ye Bai accepted the money and managed to say a few words of kindness to him. But if you want to take away the first abyss, it depends on Shura's own ability. Looking at the golden first abyss, Ye Bai was very satisfied. He was more curious about another thing: how did the first abyss become like this? You know, there are still two abyss in Ye Bai's family. If you knew how to create a golden abyss, wouldn't it be a big profit? Ye Bai checked the report repeatedly and finally noticed a detail. Lan, who did not want to be named, told Wanwu Pavilion that when the first abyss turned into the golden abyss, Xuemeng happened to be at the scene. Xuemeng. These two words ignited Ye Bai's hope. As long as it's related to Xuemeng, there's nothing to be afraid of. Whatever you want comes to you. Ye Bai looked outside the wolf den, and the figure of a strong man happened to appear. Before entering the wolf den, Xuemeng was a little drunk, with happiness written all over his face. Big Menzi, this way, this way. Ye Bai greeted Xuemeng and took out a God of War merit card at the same time. The most expensive bottle of fine wine, I'll treat you with cash. When asking for help, show some sincerity. Ye Bai is not short of this little money. Hearing this, Ye Bai's expression froze, his Adam's apple moved slightly, and he had an ominous premonition. But this name sounds very rich as soon as you hear it. I want to help you too. Good name. Xuemeng felt indescribably happy. Xiao Meng, use it and let me see it. You're seeing someone outside, aren't you? Shura's treat is great. I drank wine and said hello. Xuemeng, I'm laughing so hard. Didn't learn it at all. Xuemeng slowly took a sip of wine and sighed again. Your second father is my second brother. How can we be outsiders when one of us is following the other? My second father told me not to spread any rumors. How is this going? You said this, it's simple. Hearing the words "don't spread it to outsiders," Shura obviously realized the seriousness of the matter, and his voice rose a few degrees. Xuemeng shook his head like a rattle. Yo, you're here too. Ye Bai counted on his fingers and said. Pointing to the golden abyss on the report, Ye Bai asked with a smile. No. Happy. Want to steal something from Xuemeng? That sword is too strong, I haven't learned it yet. Ye Bai said seriously. Ye Bai gave a thumbs up to his second brother. Anxious. He is anxious. The smile on Xuemeng's face began to gradually become crazier, and there was even a sense of perversion released after being suppressed for a long time. Want to use the SSS level talent Eye of Insight to recreate it? My second father has learned a new sword called Huangjin Abyss. Shura wants to steal his master? Xuemeng glanced at the photo and said carelessly. I'll help you check and fill in the gaps to see if there's anything you haven't learned enough. Xuemeng ran over happily and drank the wine as soon as it was served. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 592. Haven't learned. Ye Bai was slightly startled and said in surprise. It can't be done. Who is Xuemeng? The current wolf ancestor, the first person below the god of war, the most powerful adopted son, and one of the top 3 in the pinnacle of swordsmanship. A casual blow can kill Su Qingfeng instantly. How come Xuemeng, who is so terrifying, can't even learn a single move called Huangjin Yuan? Ye Bai glared and said fiercely. Tell me, are you lazy? Before Xuemeng could answer, Ye Bai said sadly. Xuemeng, have you forgotten your ambition to hold a sword? His. Being fooled by Shuro like this, Xuemeng actually felt a little guilty for a moment. What's wrong with you? Do you even have to give up your life dreams for a little profit? Xuemeng, Xuemeng, why have you fallen into this state? Is it really worth it? Soon, Xuemeng's confused eyes gradually became firmer. He looked at Shura and already had the answer in his heart. Worth. What the hell, if Shura suffers a loss once in this life, what else is not worth it? It wasn't until this moment that Xuemeng understood the true meaning of Yeju's previous words. Shura felt more uncomfortable watching others make money than losing money himself. Seeing Xuemeng's appearance, Ye Bai probably understood. Then there's nothing to talk about. Ye Bai was not surprised to encounter a wall with Xuemeng. He was just curious about one thing: who changed Xuemeng? With Xuemeng's IQ and EQ, he would never be able to achieve this level on his own. There must be help from experts behind the scenes. Just as Ye Bai was thinking hard about the answer, he saw a familiar figure walking towards the wolf lair. The person who came was none other than his good disciple Yeju. Ye Bai's eyes lit up and he already had a plan in mind. De Menzi, drink slowly, the wolf's nest is free of charge today. Ye Bai patted Xuemeng's shoulder and slipped out of the back door to avoid bumping into Yeju. Just as Ye Bai walked away with his front foot, Yeju entered the wolf's den with his hind foot, and the two of them happened to be staggered. At this time, Yeju also received a message from the Dream Master. The Dream Master first asked about Yeju's current situation, and after some pointers, the picture was clear. Ye Bai asked casually. Disciple, how is your relationship with Xuemeng? Yeju replied, we had a great time talking. Okay, okay, okay. Ye Bai said 3 good words in a row, and said leisurely. My teacher is actually Xuemeng's elder. Recently, a young man has been around Xuemeng, messing with his mind and making monstrous words. Please help me find out who this person is. Yeju is Ye Bai's good disciple. He has excellent abilities, qualities, and is extremely loyal. Ye Bai couldn't be more at ease if he left this kind of matter to Yeju to investigate. Hearing what the Dream Master said, Yeju immediately realized who the Dream Master was talking about. Isn't it just shepherding? Dream Master, there is indeed such a person. Yeju muttered. It's just that Xuemeng was quite afraid of this person in his words and only dared to use pronouns to address him. The disciples still don't know his real name. This person has great strength and cunning methods, and never shows his true appearance to others. If you want to find out his identity, the disciple may have to spend a lot of effort. There's drama. Ye Bai hurriedly sent a message. Okay, don't worry, you can check it out slowly. I have an account as a teacher, and I have to settle it with this person. Yeju is doing things, Ye Bai can rest assured. After arranging everything, Ye Bai left the back door of the wolf lair muttering. When Yeju finds out who is giving Xuemeng bad ideas behind his back, he won't be able to reap the benefits. At the same time, in the wolf den, Yeju also picked up the water glass and asked. Brother Meng, Ye is entrusted by someone to ask more about the story about shepherding sheep. Ye Bai's original intention was to let Yeju investigate secretly. For this kind of thing, it's best not to turn on the lights if you can, and you can spend some money. Who would have known that Yeju Ming would not say any secrets, but would just ask openly and openly? Anyone else would probably be wary of Yeju's statement. But who is Xuemeng? Yeju is straightforward, he is more straightforward than Yeju. Xuemeng was also unambiguous and spoke freely. Talk, you can talk. There's nothing not to talk about. Anyway, Muang is a fictional person created by Xuemeng. Just tell what Shura did to Xuemeng without any modification. After listening to Xuemeng's words, Yeju commented pertinently. Shepherd, it is indeed a heinous crime. After leaving the wolf lair, Ye Bai put Xuemeng down, but couldn't put down Huang Yuan. One sword turns the abyss into gold. If you don't learn this, are you still a Shura? Ye Bai feels that on his way to becoming the most powerful person, he cannot do without the help of Huang Jinyuan. Xuemeng's path is impassable. Ye Bai can still find his second brother. He went directly to the first abyss and confessed his sins in front of his second brother. Ye Bai didn't believe it and couldn't learn this sword. With this idea, Ye Bai submitted a business trip application to the Invisible Legion through Shadow. Reject in seconds. Ye Bai also conveyed his wish to go to the first abyss to see the scenery through the pavilion of all things. Say no again. Ye Bai, who became increasingly frustrated and courageous, found another way and took up the recent teaching tasks at Moda University. Tianzi Class 3 had an abyss internship. But the internship location is the 8th abyss. Let's find a way to get Lao Su to take us around the first abyss. After putting away his teaching tasks and seeing that the time was almost up, Ye Bai left the Eternal Core City and returned to reality. After the Eternal Forest appears, no white clouds fell in front of Ye Bai. Your chat friend Xiaoao's current status, offline. Haha, it's time to make a career. Ye Bai sneered after looking at Tanyan's prompt. I dare to type out the third brother's name. I don't know which Dan Yan was, but he shivered in front of the most powerful person before. Obviously, Tanyan, like Ye Bai, has no sense of shame. As long as there is no sense of shame, you will never die in society in this life. Socially awesome people belong to the category. Ignoring Danyan, Ye Bai left the Eternal Forest and returned to Shanghai University. As long as the chess piece that breaks through today's level is not discovered, Ye Bai can live well. The chess pieces are placed in the Eternal Tower, they are safe. With this thought, Ye Bai finished breakfast and rushed to the meeting point. This time, Brother Long is finally not in a wheelchair. Looking at Brother Long lying on the stretcher, Ye Bai didn't know what to say for a moment. One skin a day, Brother Long's life is so happy. Tianping held Brother Long's hand and kept ensuring. Brother Long, I will do it next time, I will do it next time. Brother Long waved his hand and said nothing. Everyone who understands understands. Everyone was waiting at the meeting point, but when the appointed time came, the powerful head teacher had not yet arrived. Teacher Su said that you might be late for a while. Before Tianping finished speaking, the dusty Su Qingfeng appeared in everyone's sight. He was covered in glittering gold, like a little golden man, indescribably vulgar. Su Qingfeng patted his shoulder, and countless golden dust fell down, which made Ye Bai's eyes widen. Sorry, something delayed me, I'm late. Su Qingfeng explained. Just came back from the first abyss. As for the readership, I will share my thoughts with you again. I understand that everyone has needs and wants a place to chat and share, which is reasonable. But the old thief is lazy. Yes, the only reason why there is no group is laziness. Just thinking about it makes me feel troublesome and lazy. I would also like to remind everyone here. When you are surfing the internet, any person you encounter who claims to be the author of this book, Minjai Old Thief, is a liar. Do not believe. Do not believe. Do not believe. The old thief has designated the refresh area, the comment area of this book, so everyone knows. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 593. Everyone is here. Su Qingfeng started today's training without any nonsense. A strong man like him is usually very busy. It is not easy to be able to spare 2 days in a row to tutor Tianzi Class 3. At least, Su Qingfeng is definitely the most diligent among the many class teachers Tianping knows. If the weak bird flies first, it belongs. The training intensity of Tianzi Class 3 is a bit difficult for Tianping and others to reach the maximum intensity. There are even some projects that the singer and Little Transparent can't pass. They are geniuses, not monsters. But in front of Ye Bai, he looked childish. Just like killing Su Qingfeng alone, it's effortless. What's more, Ye Bai doesn't need to get the best test scores. He adheres to his own fishing principles and will never get a C if he can. The results of most projects are swinging on the passing line. Occasionally, 2 students were given a failing grade. Considering his C-level talent, no one was surprised by this performance. The day's fishing training ended quickly. After the training, everyone cleaned up and returned to their exclusive classrooms. As the head teacher, Su Qingfeng began to arrange the teaching tasks for the next stage. I have a secret to tell you. Before doing this, please sign the confidentiality agreement. Lao Su acted mysteriously. Even Ye Bai was a little curious as to whether Lao Su knew any inside information. In the small classroom, 5 people signed confidentiality agreements. Su Qingfeng then whispered. The 8th demon god is dead. Hiss. In the classroom, there was a gasp of air and the temperature soared. Everyone? Ye Bai, that's it? What a big deal. Ye Bai was very disdainful in his heart. Not only did I know that the 8th demon god was dead, but guess who killed him? Could it be that I killed the 8th demon god alone? Do I need to write it on my face and talk about it everywhere? Do you see how proud I am? Seeing everyone's shocked reactions, Su Qingfeng was very satisfied. The drastic changes in the 7th and 8th abyss are the highest secrets of the human race, and only a handful of powerful people know about them. Su Qingfeng is one of them. No matter how disdainful he is still a majestic 9th level god of war, much stronger than the 8th level gods of war. Su Qingfeng spoke again. Even I don't know many of the secrets, so don't ask around. The genius seeds in class 3 of Tianzi actually come from average families, and there is nothing particularly outrageous about them. There is no one named Shui, no one named Wu, no one named Huo, no one named Lan. I can only say that they are average. Those with real backgrounds in the family all started out as 9th level war gods. For example, Feng Dong's nephew is a powerful 9th level war god. Another example is Wang, the number 1 SS level talent in this session. Others don't know his background, but Su Qingfeng knows it clearly. Wang's great-great-grandfather was also named Wang. It happened that his great-great-grandfather was ranked 8th and had a rather indecent name. Grandpa Wang is Xueju's beloved brother. Even Yingju would call him Mina when she saw him. With this level of status, Wang has a very strong background and is basically the king of kings in this session. After coughing twice, Su Qingfeng emphasized. The point is, there is no legion stationed in the 8th abyss now, and it is in a state of disorder and chaos. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up again. Su Qingfeng would not mention the 8th abyss without any reason. Could it be that their next abyss internship will be in the 8th abyss? The previous internship in Abyss was just a little fuss and boring. It looks like a dangerous internship, but in fact, it is extremely safe under the protection of the strong human race. Now, if you switch to a disorderly Abyss, the risk will be full. Just thinking about it makes me feel excited. Yes, tomorrow we will enter the 8th Abyss and start the first Abyss internship of the primary semester. Su Qingfeng's words confirmed everyone's suspicions. But the format is different than what you've experienced before. Your strength is not enough to survive in the abyss of chaos. In Su Qingfeng's view, throw Tianzi Team 3 into the 8th abyss, and I'm afraid it won't take half an hour to help them collect the bodies. That is a large chaotic abyss where war kings are everywhere and there are as many war gods as dogs. There is no suppression by the devil, no order, no rules. Crazy monsters can do anything. What's more, Su Qingfeng learned from the gossip that a god defected from the eternal temple, sneaked into the eighth abyss, and coveted the throne of the eighth demon god. If he encountered a defecting god in the eighth abyss, Su Qingfeng would not be sure of victory. Not to mention these students. For your safety, this trip to the abyss will be conducted in a one-on-one mode. Su Qingfeng patiently introduced. The strong god of war will lead you to operate in the eighth abyss, complete the set training tasks, and ensure your life safety. The situation is probably like this. Each person will be guarded by a corresponding god of war, which is an obvious protection. There are a total of 100 people in the Tianzi class and the Daizi class at Modu University, and 100 gods of war are selected. The human race still has this kind of wealth. Secretly, the closest to the eighth abyss is the ninth abyss, and the ninth demon god is an undercover agent sent by the human race. With the ninth demon god watching over him, there won't be any problems. After a brief introduction, Su Qingfeng announced the disbandment and asked everyone to go back and make final preparations. Just after everyone left, the most powerful seed and the most powerful adopted son are running rampant in the eighth abyss, and Poseidon will be scared to see them. Hi EQ, I'm sleepy, 2 updates today, Xuemeng's accounting. Su Qingfeng sighed and said. In fact, Ye Bai and Xuemeng traveled together. Su Qingfeng received it. It shows that this chess piece must play a huge role in Shura's lineup. What does this mean? Look at this name, look at this combat power, look at this trait. This is probably one of the lineups that Shura cleared last night. But Shura's silent gratitude and gratitude. Su Wudi is a 7-star chess piece. Su Qingfeng took out a chess piece from the storage space, put it in front of him, and thought about it carefully. On the surface, the god of war responsible for accompanying him into the eighth abyss is a certain god of war within the shadow. Low EQ, there will be 4 updates in the world tomorrow. Having killed the eighth demon god alone, he would not be surprised. He didn't know why this chess piece fell into his hands. He who knows me is Shura. Su Wudi. The corners of Su Qingfeng's mouth curled up slightly, looking at the powerful 7-star chess piece in his hand, he felt extremely proud. Ye Bai had nothing to prepare. The appearance of this chess piece is somewhat similar to him. I'm a bit stuck today and I'm sleepy, so I'm going to rest. He carefully put away the chess pieces, sighed, and said with emotion. It is more than words. Even without Xuemeng accompanying him. In terms of security, Ye Bai has always been very careful. Being Su Wudi's opponent must be very disappointing. Taking half a day off on Labor Day is a yes. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people on the 35th floor to gather 5-star chess pieces. Moreover, with the improvement of his strength, Ye Bai now has the capital to cross the abyss. You know how invincible this chess piece is. Although online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 594. At the end of the day's training, Ye Bai returned to his dormitory. Just like the previous process, make all preparations and return to the Eternal Forest. This is the place where you feel most secure. In a dedicated space, the green light began to flash wildly. 0.1 seconds later, Ye Bai's figure appeared. Dear Master, is it so early today? Dracula stuffed the duck collarbone into his pocket and ran over with a flattering face. Let me see what you talked about yesterday. Ye Bai called up the surveillance camera and checked the video, and asked casually. Is there anything strange about Master Fool lately? Have. Dracula nodded sharply. Master went to shake the money tree yesterday. Money tree? Ye Bai was a little curious as to what kind of trouble this demon clan was trying to pull. After suffering several losses on the money tree, the Fool Master walked around the money tree. Unprecedented, he actually took the initiative to shake it. Yabai asked further. The results of it? A piece of equipment was swallowed up by a cash cow. Dracula whispered. Master is in a bad mood right now. Please, don't laugh so wildly. Now that Master Fool is fine, Yabai feels a lot more at ease. About the chess pieces. Yabai was still quite afraid of what happened to Dong Chuang. However, according to Yabai's careful observation, Master Fool, Xuemeng, and Su Qingfeng did not behave strangely. Explanation: it's not a big problem. Read the conversation between Cain and Dracula. Yabai probably knew it well, so he simply called the two vampires over and had a frank talk. Soon, the three of them appeared on the roof of Evernight Castle. Yabai was sitting on the main seat, with Dracula and Cain on the left and right. Dracula poured a glass of red wine for Yabai. Yabai took out a can of Sprite and poured it into a red wine glass in front of the two vampires. Cain. Dracula. This is no longer a matter of heresy. If it were anyone else, he would dare to waste red wine like this in front of them. They will definitely let each other know what color blood is. Yabai put the red wine aside, opened a can of sugary Coke, and took a sip. Let's get down to business. His eyes swept over the two people's faces, and he said frankly. You want to find the blood ancestor, and I want to find him too. At this point, our interests are the same. For Yabai, the long-term goal must be to kill the most powerful demon god. The mid-term goal is to raise the level to 900, bring Master Ju back from the abyss of power, and help the second brother and the third brother see a doctor. The short-term goal is to recapture the floor behind the Eternal Tower and defeat the elf ancestor in the Black Mist. The next three tribes are the Werewolf tribe, the Vampire tribe, and the Elven tribe. Needless to say, Ancestor Wolf, Xuemeng, his eldest nephew, is always available when called upon. The elf ancestor is the final boss and needs to be treated with caution. If Yabai could find the missing blood ancestor and learn more about what happened back then, he would have a better chance of winning against the elf ancestor. Moreover, after recovering the blood ancestor, the strength of Dracula and Cain will be improved to a certain extent. For Yabai, this is undoubtedly a major benefit. The most important is, please, can there be one more blood ancestor in the sheepfold? He will be so handsome. In short, Yabai was very interested in finding the blood ancestor. If you want to break the fate of the most powerful, you must understand the history of the Eternal Tower. The blood ancestor is an absolutely key figure. Let's start over. Yabai was responsible for asking, and the two powerful vampires answered, and their statements confirmed each other. We are all foxes with thousands of years of experience. There is no need to use tricks that cannot be put on the table. I probably know about the failure of blood ancestors' breakthrough. Yabai turned to ask. Was the Eternal Tower created before the blood ancestor disappeared or after he disappeared? It is important to figure out the timing. The two vampires gave their answers almost at the same time. Dracula, after. Cain, before. Yabai. The scene was very embarrassing for a time. How about I give you some more time and you can make confessions together? Cain explained. Before the blood ancestor disappeared, Eternity had already approached the blood ancestor and proposed the idea of building an eternal tower. At that time, he was rejected by blood ancestor. However, after eternal persuasion, blood ancestor finally agreed, and the two parties cooperated secretly without making it public. In ancient times, Cain's status is obviously much higher than Dracula's. The secrets he knows are far beyond what Dracula can match. Yabai asked further. Then what? Then. Cain looked a little embarrassed and said vaguely. A famous vampire strongman made a small mistake and was assigned by the blood ancestor to build the eternal tower. Yabai. Is the strong man you are talking about called Cain? Cain skipped this dark history and explained. When the blood ancestor disappeared and the blood river went berserk, the Blood clan's vitality was severely damaged. In order to gain support among all races, he announced his participation in the construction plan of the Eternal Tower. In ancient times, many powerful people did not believe that the Eternal Tower could succeed and thought it was a scam. Yabai nodded slightly. He understands, isn't it just PPT to build a car? From this point of view, Eternal can be regarded as a master of deception. Not only did he secure financing for such a big thing, he actually accomplished it in the end. If the Blood clan had no connection with the Eternal Tower when the Blood ancestor disappeared, Yabai would not have to be busy. He mused. Looking at it this way, if the Blood ancestor is not dead, he is probably in the Eternal Tower. This view is also what Cain and Dracula thought. In other words, they can only think so. If the Blood ancestor is outside the Eternal Tower, in the void, in the upper world. For them, this is not good news. Where are you two? Yabai changed the topic and asked about the situation of the two of them. The Blood ancestor is in the Eternal Tower. One of you is on the 10th floor and the other is on the 20th floor. Are you guarding the door for the Blood ancestor? Dracula said nothing. He has been lying about his origins. Anyway, as soon as I closed my eyes and opened them, I appeared on the 10th floor of the Eternal Tower. I don't know anything about the others. Cain's face was as dark as water, his eyes were sinister, he hesitated again and said, I was originally at the Eternal Temple. Hiss. Cain, how many surprises do you have that I don't know about? As the Forbidden Prince among the Forbidden Princes, Yabai was not surprised that Cain had this card. Before the Eternal Tower came to Blue Star, the Eternal Tower flew in the void for a period of time. Since Cain decided to speak, he had nothing to hide. I was originally living in the Eternal Temple, but in order to find the Blood ancestor, I destroyed myself. The search started from the 90th floor downwards and finally stopped at the 20th floor. After the Eternal Tower came to Blue Star, the passages between the floors were closed, and I was trapped on the 20th floor. After telling his story, Cain looked at Shura and asked for the first time, why do you care so much about the Blood ancestor? For 2 days in a row, Shura intensively inquired about matters related to the Blood ancestor. Could it be that he has clues about the Blood ancestor? Ahem, that's it? Yabai took out a strategy guide, handed it to the two of them, and introduced at the same time. I'm going to the 38th floor soon. There is a special being there. I'm very lucky. Even if you touch the other person, you will become lucky. A bitter smile appeared on Yabai's face, and he said helplessly. Also known as, Lucky Piggy. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 595. Lucky Piggy. Could it be the Blood ancestor? Cain and Dracula shook their heads at the same frequency, with resistance written on their faces. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Emotionally, they couldn't accept the Blood ancestor turning into a pig. Only. Objective facts do not depend on personal subjective will, but must follow the objective laws of the development of things. Yabai looked at the helpless struggle of the two vampires and felt it was ridiculous and pitiful. Yabai learned about it from his previous communication with Zhao Qian. Among the questions that Xiaoao has been thinking about. The butterfly in Butterfly Dream Xiaoao is regarded by Xiaoao as the incarnation of the origin of the world. If that's the case, the world in Xiaoao's eyes may be different from the world we usually see. Xiaoao has the ability to see through the essence of things at a glance. Thinking along this line of thinking. When Xiaoao saw a vampire, he thought he might be a pig. This was not a scolding of vampires. Yabai knew that Xiaoao would not do such a boring thing. Rather, state the facts. In Xiaoao's view, the essence of vampires is pigs. In his eyes, every vampire can see the shadow of a pig at the end of the river of blood. In other words, the most powerful vampire and the missing blood ancestor may have turned into a pig. Not only Yebai understood this conjecture. The two victims, Cain and Dracula, actually figured out a bit of flavor. But even if I beat them to death, they won't admit it. The blood ancestor turned into a pig. In the long history of the vampire clan, had they ever suffered such humiliation? The two even conspired privately. If the worst happened, they would not hesitate to join forces to kill the blood ancestor and leave the last bit of dignity for the blood clan. Anyway, neither of them could deny the fact that there were pigs on the 38th floor. This pig is probably also a vampire. Correct. Yebai suddenly remembered, looked at Cain, and asked in surprise. You escaped from the Eternal Temple, destroyed your body, and paid such a high price just to find the blood ancestor. This script is a bit too inappropriate. The Cain that Yebai knew must have a brain defect and could use the Yin blood ancestor at any time. How could he be so loyal? Before Cain could reply, Dracula sneered. Looking for the blood ancestor, I think it's better to kill the blood ancestor, right? Cain turned into a spirit body and frantically searched for the seriously injured blood ancestor. It was hard to believe that he could do anything good. Cain dismissed Dracula's slander. What do you, a traitor to the vampire clan, know? Cain said coldly. Blood ancestor, the virtuous will live here. Every generation of the blood clan has a blood ancestor, why can't it be Cain and me? High EQ, I'm ready to stab the blood ancestor in the back. Low EQ, blood ancestor, he can replace him. Listening to Cain's confident speech, Yebai said it was wonderful. It is worthy of being a vampire, a race whose betrayal is written in the river of blood. From Yebai's perspective, the vampires are undoubtedly a collection of contradictions. They are elegant and dirty, they are loyal and treacherous, they are pretentious and humble. It is within this contradiction that only then did Cain and Dracula emerge. In order to become stronger, they can surrender to Shura's feet and work hard without complaint. One is the ultimate tool vampire, and the other simply lives in a sun shield, enduring the burning of the sun day and night. Yebai believes that when they become stronger, whenever there is an opportunity to backstab, the two of them will consider it. Then, considering Xiao Ao's sense of oppression and Shura's skin-picking methods, the two of them would definitely give up the idea of backstabbing. Laughing to death, I don't even dare to stab him in the back. After talking to the two vampires, Yebai found Gabriel again. As the most powerful seed of the Angel clan and living in the Eternal Tower all year round, Gabriel has much better information than the other two pigs. You asked the pig on the 38th floor. Gabriel frowned and asked. Isn't that the pet of your strong human race? His. Yebai. If you don't ask, you won't know. If you ask, you will be shocked. This pig is actually the pet of a strong human race? Gabriel saw Yebai's confusion and patiently explained. 100 years ago, nightmare. When these two words were mentioned, the idiot master in the distance coughed lightly. Apparently, there was something about the nightmare, and she had told Gabriel that it was best not to tell Shura. If you dare to say it, Xiao Ao can't protect Gabriel. Gabriel's expression remained normal and he continued. When Nightmare arrived on the 32nd floor, she was holding this pig in her arms. I heard from other angels that the Nightmare left her on the 38th floor. Was the lucky pig sent by the eldest brother? There's nothing strange about this. The idiot master passing by mocked. Xiaoxiu, the rag you have been wearing was originally used to wrap pigs. No, 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 you don't even know this, do you? Listening to the idiot master's weird words, Yebai dismissed it and said. It's disgusting to repeat the words. I'm an old ant who is thousands of years old, and she is still here pretending to be young. Fool master. In terms of fighting demons, Yebai has always been full of enthusiasm. After receiving the unexpected information, Yebai immediately contacted the goblin brother of Wu Pavilion. For this kind of thing, it is more reliable to ask your own people directly. The goblin boy is not Lord Nine, and he does not have so many historical inventions. And what Yebai is currently doing is related to his boss's speech therapy, so he cannot be careless. Zhao Qian, who knew the importance of this matter, quickly responded. Let's make a long story short. Zhao Qian briefly told the story. Nightmare picked up a pig in the novice copy and kept it as a pet. After reaching the 38th floor, Nightmare felt that there would be danger if he went up any higher, so he left the pig behind. What happened was surprisingly simple. There are not so many twists and turns, and this pig does not have a big background. It's just a pet of a powerful person. Is it strange? Yebai's sheep pen is full of sheep raised by the most powerful Shura. No difference. Yebai didn't expect that. Everyone else starts with a dog and relies on picking up equipment. The eldest brother didn't take the usual path and turned out to be a pig at the beginning. Of course, Yebai also noticed a small detail. This pig was not transformed by Xiaoao, it was a pig from the beginning. Could it be that I guessed wrong and it actually has nothing to do with the vampire clan? Yebai put this idea aside for the time being and asked. By the way, why is this pig so lucky? Is it because of the nightmare? That's not. Zhao Qian hesitated for a moment and decided to tell Yebai the truth. Fourth brother, do you remember the lucky 40-leaf clover? Yebai's face immediately became strange. You mean, shouldn't you be wasting all your natural resources? Right. Zhao Qian nodded, confirming Shura's guess. Back then, I gave my lucky 40-leaf clover to my wise brother to help him get rid of bad luck. Who would have thought that by mistake? Speaking of this, even Zhao Qian, who has a big family and a big business, still feels a little heartbroken when he recalls the past. Been eaten by pigs. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 596. Eaten by a pig. Yebai fell into silence for a moment and asked again. Can you spit it out? Zhao Qian? The pig eating the lucky 4-leaf clover, conservatively estimated, happened 100 years ago. When normal people hear this story, in addition to lamenting the waste of natural resources, the most they can do is think about how to squeeze more value out of the pigs. Shura is better. Come up, can you spit it out? I can't fix it for my little brother. After careful analysis, the goblin boy gave a rigorous answer. I've never tried this. If it were any other pig who ate the lucky 40-leaf clover, it would definitely not be as good as hers. The problem is, that's Nightmare's pet. Who dares to do this? A person without strength cannot even defeat this pig. Most capable people know this inside story and have no other thoughts about this pig. In this way, the pig spent a happy 100 years on the 38th floor. Until Shura appears. The little goblin boy thought about it and found that only Shura could do this. Even Xuemeng was almost confused. Fourth brother, they say they are pets, but actually the relationship between this pig and Nightmare is not that good. The goblin boy changed the topic and even said with a bit of encouragement. As long as you don't get killed, you can go back to your old business, let go of your fists and show off your ambitions. At first glance, Yebai felt quite comfortable with these words. Think about it carefully. Yebai noticed something was wrong. What do you think makes me look like a pig butcher? How can you be as good at killing pigs as you are? 2 days ago, Zhao Qian had just received a huge sum of 5 million from the God of War, and sent it all to Shura through the Pavilion of all things. Zhao Qian had an idea of how much wealth Poseidon had. This wave of Shura has almost completely exploited the Poseidon, achieved the human race's expected goal, and weakened the Poseidon to the greatest extent. For a moment, Zhao Qian was actually looking forward to it. The lucky piglet would fall into Shura's hands, and it would have to shed its skin even if it didn't die. By the way, why do you leave the little pig on this floor? After finding out Xiaozu's background, Ye Bai turned to ask. With his outgoing character, now that he knows about the existence of Lucky Piggy, he probably won't let it go. But Ye Bai also had to consider the impact. It would be bad if the nightmare left the little pig here and Ye Bai accidentally destroyed it due to any considerations and backup plans. I really know this. Zhao Qian explained. The main reason is that Xiaozu doesn't dare to approach the 40th floor, saying that a powerful enemy is chasing her, and she has a psychological shadow. That's okay. Ye Bai was running rampant in the Eternal Tower and had never seen any strong enemies. How strong are you to stand up and compete with me, third brother? After making sure that he had no worries, Ye Bai's ideas gradually became bolder. Ended the call. Ye Bai looked at the two vampires in his exclusive space, preparing to slaughter two pigs to practice his skills and warm up. Ye Bai asked frankly. Tell me, what reward are you going to give me for helping me catch piglets on the 38th floor? Gu Jin, who was passing by, didn't feel any fluctuation in his heart when he heard the boss's remarks. To work for Shura, you also have to give Shura money. So Shura. The goblin is numb. Cain is obviously still a little uncomfortable with it. How can a dignified and forbidden prince of the Blood Clan be exploited and slaughtered in this way? Dracula had already prepared and quoted his price. I am proficient in an ancient dense pattern formation of the vampire clan solar eclipse, which is unique to me and is not included in the vampire clan's records. Engraving it on equipment can improve the utilization rate of blood essence of the vampires, increase blood sucking and health. Cain? You're such a vampire, why would you study a secret pattern like solar eclipse? The development and research of the Blood Clan's secret pattern formation is by no means an overnight success. In other words, since the beginning of ancient times, Dracula has been crazy. This 25-year-old. Stop talking nonsense and bring out the goods. Ye Bai is also unambiguous. Don't listen to Dracula's hype. In fact, it may be useless. As for the true value, just leave it to Wanwu Pavilion for evaluation. In front of Dracula, Ye Bai sent the entire formation to the Goblin Boy for evaluation. Soon, Zhao Qian gave an appraisal opinion. This formation is valuable, but only Duke level and highly qualified vampires are qualified to carve it. After giving a fair evaluation of solar eclipse, Zhao Qian took out two options and placed them in front of Shura. 1. The Pavilion of All Things buys out the solar eclipse formation for a fixed price of 300,000 God of War merit. For each subsequent set of eclipse equipment sold, 50% of the profits will be distributed to you. 300,000 God of War merits. Dracula's breath tightened. He didn't expect that the formation he made was so valuable. Loss. Big loss. Zhao Qian continued to send messages. 2. The solar eclipse formation remained in Shura's hands, and Wanwu Pavilion placed an order with Shura to engrave secret patterns on the equipment. For each set of God of War equipment inscribed, the profit ranges from 3,000 to 50,000 God of War merits. If the equipment is produced in Shura's space, the profit will only be higher. The former ensures harvests despite droughts and floods. The latter, I want them all. It's over. The moment Dracula saw the news, he slapped his forehead. He knows the demon lord too well. Shura couldn't resist this kind of thing of spending big money to make small money. Shura likes the feeling of making money too much. Gu Jin on the side quickly came to a conclusion. The cost is about 500,000 God of War merits, and it will take 2 months to recover the cost. It will take 4 months to earn more than option 1. Little brother, you are young. Dracula patted Gujin on the shoulder. You calculate it again, as each vampire duke works 24 hours. Not too possible. Gujin defended in a low voice. Vampires are very lazy. Even if you slap them hard on the back with the soul thorn whip, they will not work 24 hours a day, 18 hours at most, and they will easily die from exhaustion or go crazy. Dracula? What the hell have you done before? You have too many details, right? Only then did Dracula notice. He used to be wary of Shura, a big vampire. But he forgot that before Shura appeared, goblins were also vampires. It's just that compared to Shura, it pales in comparison. All vampires except vampires. Cain decided to show his true nature as a vampire. It is our duty to restore the glory of vampires. As long as I'm here, they will work 24 hours a day. Cain said coldly. For the rise of the vampire clan, our clan will pay any price. Even if the price is a vampire duke. Gujin gave new analysis results. Recover your capital in 1 month and make a lot of money in 2 months. With a professional gang, it is convenient to commit crimes. Yabai said confidently. I choose to. Okay, fourth brother. The goblin boy was not surprised. I recommend you to buy members of the 13 Blood Clans Old Association. The success rate of their engravings should be higher. Each one is a level 989 vampire strongman, the unit price is 188,888, buy 3 and get 1 free, buy 5 and get 2 free. 13 clan elders meeting? The chat style suddenly changed and turned into a vampire business. Now, the capitalists are really evil. Yabai asked curiously. How many vampire clan elders are there in the Wanwu Pavilion? Not much. Zhao Qian said modestly. 13. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjia Old Thief. Chapter 597. Good guy, Yabai called him a good guy. Just look at Shura and enjoy yourself. Really making money depends on Zhao Qian. He killed all the 13 elders of the vampire clan in one fell swoop. Buy 5 get 3 free. Yabai muttered. Can you give me the gift first? Zhao Qian. In the end, after some haggling, Yabai bought 5 vampire clan elders for 500,000 God of War merit. If the money-making efficiency is high enough, Yabai will buy back the remaining 9 later. If the efficiency of making money is too low. Not only did Yabai want to return the product, but he also wanted to sell it to the Wanwu Pavilion along with Dracula and Cain. Yabai can take any loss, but cannot lose money. After the money arrived, Zhao Qian immediately arranged the delivery. The Blood Clan Elder is usually under a seal. It will take some time to unlock the seal. It is estimated that it can be delivered to the 4th brother before 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. After this matter is settled. Yabai turned his eyes, looked at his 2 men, and said fiercely. I spent 1 million God of War merit on the production line of the solar eclipse dense pattern. Guaranteed you'll get something back for every penny you spend. Dracula patted his chest and said. If I lose money, I'm willing to dismantle Cain and sell him for money. Cain glanced at the trader coldly and ignored the clown. After the old blood clan comes over, Cain must seriously emphasize that the vampire family does not allow a second scum to appear. It's already embarrassing to have a Dracula. After a lot of trouble, Dracula's admission fee was finally paid. Yabai looked at Cain, the meaning in his eyes was obvious. I will help you take care of the vampire clan elder. Cain emphasized that under his hands, vampires would definitely exert 100% enthusiasm. If you are not enthusiastic, just become a puppet. Obviously, this condition is not enough to impress Shura. For Yabai, working for himself is a blessing for a vampire. What kind of bike do you want? Cain thought for a while and spoke again. have a friend who presided over the work of the vampires participating in the Eternal Tower. Cain, this friend, understands everything. He continued. The vampire clan has privately created several storage spaces in the Eternal Tower to store the vampire clan's materials. Yabi's eyes lit up. If you want to talk about this, then I won't be sleepy anymore. The construction of these storage spaces was completed under Cain's supervision. No one knows better than him. However, Yabi still has one question. How can you guarantee that these supplies have not been taken away by humans? I don't know how long it took for the Eternal Tower to be built, but it took a full 100 years for it to arrive at Blue Star. The human race was a real poor people at the beginning, and they had to scrape 3 oils to clean the water. In a sense, if Yabi traveled through time 100 years earlier, it would be a great help to the human race. During the land reclamation period, talents like Yabi were most needed. The secret materials hidden in the Eternal Tower by the vampires have probably been evacuated by the humans long ago. Won't. Cain was very confident. I have blood sensing, and at least half of the supplies are intact. As a result, the two parties reached a contract under the witness of Wanwu Pavilion. Yabi took Cain to the 38th floor. In return, Cain needs to take Yabi to the vampire's warehouse and provide items worth at least 500,000 God of War merit. The entrance fee. Gujin, who watched the entire transaction, couldn't help but sigh. The boss still has a good way of making money. Cain and Dracula, two poor men, could make him squeeze out millions of God of War merits. Things like money. The strong men from ancient times can still be found as long as they squeeze around. Who knows how many treasures they have from ancient times can be sold again now. Shura fully proved one thing. His greed is truly endless. After making all preparations, Yabi waited for the arrival of 12 o'clock. The 12 o'clock bell rang. Yabi returned to the Eternal Core City and placed his palm on the Eternal Core crystal. Select the number of layers, 38. A white light flashed, and Yabi disappeared from the place. I wish you can clear the Eternal Tower as soon as possible. Eternal Tower. Floor 38. This level was completely surrounded by black mist, making it impossible to see even one's fingers. According to the rules Yabi summarized before, odd changes to even ones remain unchanged. At this level, black mist should take action. The moment Yabi appeared, he abided by the agreement and summoned Cain and Dracula from his exclusive space. The two vampires also followed Shura's instructions and released bloody bats to explore in the black mist. Cheer up, everyone! Yabi shouted in a low voice. If I die in the black mist, I will summon you back. More money is needed. Cain, Dracula. The two vampires worked hard and did not dare to slack off at all. Deep in the 38th floor, on a small hillside, the black fog here is particularly thick, and there is even a pool of black water on the ground. But in the middle of the black fog, there is a small area that is not affected by the black fog. On this green grassland, there is a lively little domestic pig. What's wrong with being a pig? The golden little pig was lying on the grass, eating snacks in his mouth, and said lazily. Look at me, now Jin is fat, healthy, eats well, sleeps soundly, and doesn't take anything to heart. In the dark fog, a voice with complicated emotions came. I didn't expect that when we meet again, you would look like this. What can I do? I was also desperate. Then I saw it. What vampires and pigs are. It's all about the outside. What's important is the inside. Do you understand the inside? It can only be said that on the battlefield, pig tactics have always been used flexibly. I now work for that being. He came to kill me. I knew he wouldn't let me go. He rushed down from the 40th floor to kill me. Obviously, the experience of being a pig in the past period of time has given little golden pig a lot of emotions. Black Mist was puzzled, Why did he shake people? Cain was not strong now. The little golden pig was shivering all over. Piggy soon realized that running away would not solve the problem. He was still followed little golden pig's words and conveyed what she wanted to say. As Nightmare once had a pet, the humans treated her well and provided her with enough snacks. I thought about it, maybe I'm a pig inside, that's why I look like this. Shake people. Cain is coming. Help. After the little golden pig finished talking about himself, he looked at Hiwu and asked curiously. By the way, weren't you locked in an abyss? How did you escape? The black mist was speechless. Hiwu didn't react at all, but the little golden pig suddenly stood up and began to dig at the ground, trying to find a hole to get in. I have become so indifferent that everything that is supreme and powerful is empty. After a few seconds. After finishing the potato chips, little golden pig opened a can of Coke and said leisurely. Pigs are the only way out for modern vampires. Shura is here. At certain critical moments, Zyazu made the same choice as Shura. The little golden pig shook his head and said with a hint of sadness. Hiwu was silent for a moment, then slowly spoke. My sister was so strong back then, the most powerful blood ancestor. Just as Hiwu wanted to continue saying something, space fluctuations came from the distance, as if someone had broken into the 38th floor. The little golden pig opened a bag of potato chips and stuffed them into his mouth. Quickly release the restrictions here and let me shake people. The result is that the breakthrough fails, dust returns to dust, dust returns to dust, and the big dream comes to nothing. In front of my sister, that bad old man Cain would have to tuck his tail between his legs. A miserable wailing sounded in the ears of all the 9th-level war gods in the human race. Killing the pig. She has accepted her identity as a pig and started to show off. But online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 598. Eternal Tower. Floor 38. Yebai, Cain, and Dracula advanced slowly in the black mist. According to the prompts of the Eye of Insight, there is no danger around. But Yebai can't let Cain and Dracula use SSS level talents in vain. The two vampires also understand very well. If you die on the 38th floor, you will have to bleed again if you want to come back. As a result, the three-person team became extremely precious about their lives and transformed into King Go one after another. Before being taken away by the black mist. The nature of this level is relatively leisurely, you can do daily tasks, fight monsters, and the like. Su Qingfeng even set a record for the fastest clearance that year. He is worthy of being the first person in Fengfa. Fast is really fast. Just based on this incident, you know how difficult the 38th floor is. Strong human beings can basically pass the level. If you are stuck on this level for too long, a golden pig will appear to help the opponent pass the level. There are naturally more monsters on the contaminated floors. Yebai had just finished changing jobs. Not only did he need to upgrade his level, he also needed to adapt to his new job. In addition to the 6 basic elemental systems, Yebai also has an additional soul system profession. The effect of the soul researcher. Yebai casually rolled a fireball out and hit a monster. The monster hit by the fireball howled in pain and rolled on the ground. Soul researchers can transform elemental skills into soul damage. As Yebai's first test subject, this monster had the strength of a peak war king, but was tortured to death by Yebai's random magic ball. Yebai thought for a while and quickly came to a conclusion. These monsters were originally the product of the Eternal Tower, but they were contaminated by the black mist and became what they are now. In other words, soul is their weakness. It's like, a person's physical combat power is that of Xue Meng, but his soul's combat power is that of Su Qingfeng. With examples, the whole thing becomes more vivid. For a time, the entire 38th floor was filled with happy air. Soon, Under Yebai's constant experiments, the black mist monster died and passed away to the west. Yebai still had some unfinished thoughts and let out a sigh. Get Demon Soul Fragment, B level, *1. A transparent fragment the size of a fingernail was suspended in front of Yebai, spinning continuously. Soul Fragments, exclusive props for SSS level professional soul researchers. The main uses are as follows. 1. Healing the soul injuries of demons. 2. Make props, weapons, equipment, and enchant demon souls. 3. Develop soul-based skills for demons. 4. Yebai was shocked when he saw the first introduction. Fortunately, soul researchers are ineffective against humans, otherwise. It's scary to think about it. Although Yebai can definitely withstand such a test. But not necessarily for others. What are you thinking? There are no more than 5 soul researchers in the entire human race. The Eye of Insight was very disdainful of Yebai's ideas. This SSS level profession is as rare among humans as Su Ching Feng. Moreover, all soul researchers are bound by the same rules. Yebai drew his attention back to the soul fragments. Soul fragments can only be obtained after completely killing the target. Beings like Cain and Dracula who can be resurrected cannot obtain soul fragments by killing them. It won't be needed to heal the demon's injuries for a while, and I have enough for enchanting weapons and equipment. Because of the existence of death, the enchantments on Yebai's equipment are extremely luxurious. The sword of the Heavenly King is enchanted with the remnant soul of the 7th demon god. In terms of the power of nature, the most powerful seed of the dragon clan, the greedy golden dragon. Even an ordinary SS level shield was enchanted with an ancient powerhouse like Cain. A mere B level fragment was not worthy of Yebai's enchantment. Develop skills. Yebai crushed the fragments into pieces, and a little bit of light fell into his palm, and a progress bar popped up in front of his eyes. B-level skill development progress, 15%. If Yebai wants to develop higher level skills, he can increase the upper limit. As a professional who brushes up scores, Yebai immediately reaches full strength. SSS level skill development progress, 0.0001%. Everything is difficult at the beginning, then in the middle, and then even harder at the end. Although the progress is only 1/1,000,000th. But Yebai believed that he, who had even killed the demon ancestor alone, would be able to complete the research and development of SSS level skills. Continue. Having found his goal, Yebai's motivation greatly increased. To obtain soul fragments, the enemy must be killed by soul-based skills. Yebai tried it. The bonus of being ready to go will be invalid after the thunder type is converted into soul type damage. As a result, his efficiency in killing monsters is slightly reduced. But this still does not prevent Yebai from killing everyone, and the progress bar increases rapidly. In just 1 hour, we reached 6.5% progress. Call. Yebai wiped the sweat from his forehead and thought. In another 16 hours, the research and development will be successful. Come on. While Yebai was developing skills targeting the souls of demons. Deep in the 38th floor, on the green grass, a little golden pig was pacing back and forth, very restless. The strong demon in the black mist is very strange. I've been shaken by you. Isn't that just a cane? Is there any need to be so afraid? This strong person, she was originally the most powerful seed of the angel clan, the previous generation of Gabriel. With no hope of breakthrough, she fell into the arms of the demon clan and became the most powerful seed of the demon clan. Obviously. To shake people, of course you have to shake the one with the strongest strength and the biggest background. Cain's true form is on the 40th floor. The little golden pig gritted its teeth and stamped its 4 hooves. Little golden pig. After the invasion of the Eternal Tower, she was in charge of the 31st to 40 floors. Okay, I can take you to the 39th and 40th floors. The decision is yours, Shui-Meng. Black Mist had nothing to do with her, so he could only ask. Then what do you think we should do? Ninth level God of War. The little golden pig had panic written all over his body and said tremblingly. Black Mist. The fear of Cain has been engraved in the little golden pig's DNA. Cain is the most terrifying guy in the vampire clan. He is scarier than you think. You don't understand, you don't understand. The little golden pig nodded quickly. The little golden pig was furious and began to doubt Zhu Sheng. Please send the strongest Xiao over, thank you. If you want to shake people, I will let you shake them. If you want to run away, I will help you. Isn't he just a Cain? Deal with him. It just so happened that little golden pig knew that the human race had such a perfect candidate. The little golden pig has a very good relationship with the human race. She knows exactly who is stronger and who is weaker among the human race. This is good, this is good. Take me away. Black Mist adds a restriction. Then it's still death. I can open the restrictions and send a strong human race in. Is that okay? What's the difference between going to the 40th floor and throwing yourself into a trap? Why don't you die? He was sighed helplessly. From the perspective of the strong man in the black mist. Kurogiri nodded in agreement. Another group of black mist, the elf ancestor, is responsible for the remaining floors. There's nothing to hesitate about. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 599. Eternal Tower. Floor 38. After working for nearly 5 hours, Yebai cleared away all the black fog monsters. SSS level skill development progress, 32.5%. Current exploration degree, 100%. Call. Putting away the Heavenly King's sword, Yebai looked not far away. The Eye of Insight had already warned that the black mist that escaped from the abyss was on the green grass. The little golden pig is probably there too. Yebai didn't know how many surprises were waiting for him. This floor is almost cleared. Both Cain and Dracula had lost a lot of their blood. In Yebai's previous battle, the two of them were responsible for security work and accompanied Shura to fight monsters. Now, the main event is finally coming. They spent huge sums of money, ran forward and backward, and paid such a huge price. Just for this pig. For a moment, the two vampires actually felt a little bitter. This wave of enemies is a bit strong, so be careful. Yebai could see clearly that the strong men in the black mist were above level 989. He casually summoned Gabriel from his exclusive space. Cain, Dracula. Each of them paid an admission fee worth 500,000 God of War merits in exchange for such an opportunity. The results of it? Gabriel doesn't need anything, he gets in for free. Unfair. Dracula roared inwardly. After Gabriel appeared, he looked around and found the enemy. He asked Shuro with his eyes what to do next. Yebai greeted. Come closer. Gabriel stood behind Yebai, his face calm and numb. Yebai cleared his throat. You can start. This inexplicable sentence. A confused look appeared on Dracula's face. What to start with? Brush. Dozens of red dots appeared around Dracula. The moment the red dots appeared, they formed red lines between them. Cain actually took action secretly and used the secret method of the vampires. The power of these red threads is extremely terrifying. If you touch them even slightly, you will be seriously injured or even die suddenly. The red line cuts rapidly, cutting the confused Dracula into countless pieces. In less than 2 seconds, Dracula was killed. The battle is not over yet. Dracula, who was cut into pieces, was shattered on the ground. This is a puppet. Gabriel's pupils shrank. Was he actually deceived by a blind trick? The scum of virtue began to melt and gathered into a sea of blood. Poseidon's law emerged and began to seal the space. Blood Sea Puppet. This is Dracula's rare trump card. Cain failed in his sneak attack and didn't panic at all. Famous since ancient times, Cain has experienced hundreds of battles, has rich combat experience, and has reached the pinnacle of combat skills. The most important thing is that the people he fights are also vampires. There is no way Cain could lose in this kind of war between his own kind. Accompanying the low chanting, countless dark red bats flew out from under Cain's cloak and ran rampant in the sea of blood. A huge bat flew up from behind him, hung in the air, and turned into a bright moon. Under the moonlight, Dracula's true body had nowhere to hide and was soon discovered by Cain. With nothing to hide, Dracula simply rushed out of the sea of blood, preparing to fight Cain to the death. Under the moonlight, the vampire's combat power is at its peak. We are all vampires, so there is nothing to be afraid of. The advantage is mine, eh? As soon as Dracula broke out of the sea of blood, Cain smiled evilly, and the bright moon above his head turned over and turned into a blazing sun. You are despicable. Before Dracula could finish his words, he was melted by the terrifying sunlight and disappeared into thin air. This blazing sun extremely restrains vampires. Even Cain was seriously injured by this move. Injure the enemy 1000, and injure oneself 900. The battle between two strong vampires started suddenly and ended suddenly. Gabriel hadn't yet realized what was going on. The dust settled on the field and Cain was victorious. Wonderful and wonderful, worthy of a backstabbing clan. Yabai clapped his hands and sighed. Your rebellion has never let me down. This battle was within Yabai's expectation. In fact, Dracula and Cain also knew this well. They paid so much to follow Shura to the 38th floor, looking for the piggy who was suspected of being the blood ancestor. If Zaizu is really the blood ancestor, then, it will trigger a series of chain reactions. How to deal with the blood ancestor? Where will the vampires go next? Who benefits the most from killing the blood ancestor? These are all big questions before the two of them. Instead of waiting until the end to fight to the death, it's better to strike first and backstab him first. As long as there is a 1% chance of finding the blood ancestor, the two of them will definitely fight among themselves. Yabai had already guessed it before bringing them in. I've been beaten and beaten. Now it's time to clean up and get down to business. Yabai was not surprised that Cain survived. The looming green grassland ahead is coming soon. Damn it, get involved and harm people, you will die. There is another possibility. After entering the 38th floor, Dracula was able to determine the identity of the little golden pig even if there was a black mist. Dracula has never had a bottom line when it comes to kneeling and licking his master. The one who really determines the outcome is the outsider, Shura. This battle is no longer a battle between Dracula and Cain. And as Dracula's competitor, Cain, was forced to roll up. Certainly. Shura, who watched the show, gave it a 5-star rating and asked the actors to pay a viewing fee of 1 million for the performance of God of War. The twin sister of the blood ancestor, a waste left to eat and die, the shame of the blood clan. No matter what the situation is. After a long list of introductions, Cain spit out the other person's real name. She is not a blood ancestor. As he walked towards the green grassland, Yabai said casually. Cain hesitated and added. The fight has been fought, it's time to get down to business. Whoever he helps wins. Dracula naturally doesn't care about the outcome of this battle, so he can give it a try. Yabai gave Cain a chance to confess. The previous battle seemed to be a close call, with Cain having the upper hand. Yabai walked in front, followed closely by Gabriel. Cain tidied up and followed. Without Shura's help, 10 Draculas bundled together would not be enough for Cain to take care of. In fact, Shura's meaning is very clear. Before seeing the other party, the eye of insight cannot provide an analysis. Ye Bai, who sat on the mountain and watched the tigers fight, was not at a loss. Knowing that the other party is not a blood ancestor. Vampire, Lilith. Pay attention to the time, it's your last chance. After a moment of silence, Cain spoke again. This sentence confirmed Ye Bai's conjecture. As long as Shura is willing to join the battle, he can change the balance of victory and defeat at any time. The previous battle between the two vampires was more like a rehearsal, a show, for Shura. Cain was silent. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 600. What a name. Ye Bai couldn't help but sigh. The name Lilith exists in various literary works and is extremely popular. It is often used by some authors who have abandoned the name, and there is no copyright problem. Just by hearing the name, you can tell that Lilith has a good background. The blood ancestor's twin sister? Interesting. Ye Bai asked casually. How many treasures did your family's blood ancestors get from one child? According to normal people's logic, twins and triplets are already the limit. If the blood ancestor's mother gives birth to a baby, Lilith's status will plummet. Cain said with a dark face. Just two. One child brings many treasures. You think this is the offspring of a pig? Cain's face darkened even more when he thought of the pigs. The three of them moved forward neither too fast nor too slowly. When they reached the green grassland, they could still hear the conversation inside. Ye Bai pricked up his ears and heard a familiar voice. Don't worry, you are my adoptive father's pet, you are my pet, I will protect you. If you dare to attack, I will call him. Fuck, fix it? The moment Ye Bai stepped onto the green grass, Xuemeng hid behind a little golden pig. Before Heiwu could figure out what happened, everyone present was confused. The scene was very embarrassing for a time. Xuemeng first came out of his own psychological shadow and calmed down. Then he said sternly, Azura, personal relationships are personal relationships, and business matters should be handled professionally. As soon as he came up, Xuemeng put on a business-like attitude. Seeing that Shura didn't answer, Xuemeng continued. This pig was left behind by my adoptive father in his nightmare. He has been helping others for hundreds of years. He has done hard work for my human race without any credit. After talking a lot, Xuemeng emphasized. Can't kill. Before death, Xuemeng is bound to revive the glory of his adopted son, the strongest son. After the show is complete, as long as the piglet is not killed, it will be considered a success. Lilith, the little golden pig, spoke with a particularly complicated mood. I understand the truth, can you put me down first? Turn out to be. While Xuemeng was speaking, he had already walked towards Shura, held the little golden pig in his hands, and brought it to Shura. It's okay to capture him without any help. Xuemeng lowered his voice and defended himself. You don't understand. If you don't resist, the losses will be much smaller. This is Xuemeng's hard-earned experience during this period. Every word is full of the wisdom of wool. Facing Shura's plundering, not resisting is the best form of resistance. As long as he accepted the fact that he was bald, Xuemeng would be invincible. If you try to resist. If he fails, it will arouse Shura's desire to challenge, and the end will only be worse. If the resistance is successful. Xuemeng succeeded in doing it without anyone resisting. In short, the little golden pig was sold by the helper he called. Xuemeng only guarantees one thing, after today, this pig will still be alive. As for whether he is fat or thin, it is hard to say. Ye Bai looked at Xuemeng's palm pig and felt particularly happy. The little thing is so golden and so cute. Don't be afraid, I won't kill her. Lilith breathed a sigh of relief at Ye Bai's words. Xuemeng didn't care. On the one hand, Xuemeng knew very well that although Shura was deficient in small matters, he was never vague about major matters. Shura would never kill someone with a background like Golden Pig Lilith. On the other hand, Xuemeng knew that there was a word in the human dictionary called life is worse than death. Fall into the hands of Shura. Little Golden Pig's 100 years of savings may not be preserved. In a corner that no one noticed, Cain stared at the little Golden Pig with murderous intent in his eyes. Yabai noticed something strange about Cain. Cain whispered, "Everything has a price. Here in Shura, everything is easy to discuss if you have money." Yabai chuckled and waved his hand. "Some things don't." Cain was stunned for a moment, as if he had some realization. He has always felt that there is actually no difference between the human race and the vampire race. You know, a large part of the vampires are transformed from the human race. Shura's words seemed to clear up Cain's doubts. Even Shura has a bottom line. The decline of the vampire clan may be precisely because there is no bottom line in doing things. While Cain was meditating, Yabai turned his attention to the black mist again. "Regarding the little golden pig, you don't have to be in a hurry to talk about it anytime. She had no place to run even if she wanted to. Now that Shura is aware of her existence, it would be a disgrace to Shura's reputation if she doesn't take stock of her." On the contrary, it was Hiwu, who had allowed his opponent to run away during the previous confrontations in the air. This time, Yabai not only collided with the enemy, but also had masters like Gabriel and Xuemeng sitting beside him. "If you are not arrogant now, when will you wait?" Xuemeng's hands were itchy for a moment, and he wanted to give Hiwu a blow. The strong man in the black mist slowly spoke. "Shura, there must be a battle between you and me, you." "Wait a minute." Yabai interrupted the other party and emphasized. "Okay, how much are you going to give me?" "Black mist? Do you still need to pay for a life and death battle?" This was the first time she had heard of this. The little golden pig also had a dull expression on his face and did not understand what Shura meant. Lilith has been cooperating with the human race for hundreds of years, and her dialect is more authentic than Xuemeng's. But she knew every word of Shura's words, but she couldn't understand them when put together. Seeing the other party's dull reaction, Yabai said disdainfully, "If I don't have money, why should I risk my life with you?" He. Xuemeng rolled his eyes internally and said disdainfully, "If you have money, you won't risk your life, right?" Shura's life principle has always been to only make money, not risk his life. Make money, don't be shabby. Obviously, Kurogiri and Shura didn't interact with each other directly many times, so he was still a little confused for a while. Hiwu held it in for a long time and then said, "If I die, my body belongs to you." This is the most valuable thing she can think of. However, according to common sense, the winner gets all the spoils. This matter has been said, which means it has not been said. Yabai counted on his fingers and said, "Funeral expenses, psychological counseling fees, garbage disposal fees." Black mist. Funeral expenses, she understands this. Psychological counseling fees, what the hell is this? You killed me and you still have psychological shadow? Garbage disposal fee, what do you think of the remains of a powerful god-level man, garbage? The more you say it, the more outrageous it becomes. I said stop. The black mist stopped Shura's crazy behavior. If you continue to calculate like this, let alone the battle of life and death, you might as well just sign a contract of betrayal to Shura. In order to prevent Shura from continuing to mess around, Hiwu quickly said, "You and I will fight to the death on the 40th floor. If I die, I will leave you with the information about the abyss. This is the most valuable thing in my hand." She had been trapped in the abyss of power for many years and had little savings of her own. Yabai thought for a while and found that what the other party said made sense. Well, I have one more request that's not too much. Ye Bai showed a kind smile. This smile alone was enough to leave a psychological shadow as big as 10 football fields on Shui Meng. Ye Bai said his little request. Can you sign a soul contract? After you die, your soul will belong to me. Black Mist? Why don't you call this too much?